Stork was, you know, basically we would love to have seen him cheese, but then he just played not a straight up game. He went for that Nexus first, but he played a decent, you know, long game against Sparting, was able to win. I would love to see Stork actually play another really awesome game against SoulKey. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. I'm just really, I mean, it's just like one shocking thing back to back, you know, to me, like the Nexus first, and then now I'm sitting here watching the SoulKey come out as a second player, and it's really surprising, but I think it definitely could work. His all-time record in Pro League is 100 wins and 69 losses. He did get that award just recently before Shine tenfold him.
Yeah, actually, we were talking to some people here at the studio about how that happened, and actually how Shine was really good against SoulKey. Yeah. That ZVZ matchup. I think it was 7-0 so far in StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2.
Yeah, 7-0 if I'm not mistaken. So really intense stat there. Looks like we're going to jump right into the second game. I believe players are in the lobby, so let's go ahead and jump into it.
SKT114.
Down here in the bottom right, the red Protoss again here for Samsung Galaxy Con. It's Stork.
He's got so many fans cheering for him right now. Well, the same could be said of his opponent, the SK Telecom T1 Zerg. It's SoulKey, and one especially loud fan cheering for him there. So this is awesome. Because of what I was talking about earlier, I feel like there's so much hype surrounding SoulKey. Everyone's expecting him to be the man who wins the ZVZs, because that might be who we see for Samsung. Mostly Zergs. They've shown mostly Zergs in the past. Zergs have the most success for them by far. So, I mean, if you put all those things together, SoulKey's ZVZ might actually be a determining factor in this match. But we get to see first a Zerg versus Protoss.
Yeah, I love to see this, actually. It's just a treat all the time you get to see SoulKey come out and play. He's just one of these players who's just so fun to watch. And I would have loved to see, actually, SoulKey against Parting as well. Or no, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I would love to see that too.
SoulKey against one of the Zergs out of Samsung is what I'm trying to say here. But he is going to come out here in that ZVP, like you were saying.
Right. And, I mean, if we take this a step further, noting, of course, that Stork is going for a gateway-oriented opening, if you think about the other players that SK Telecom could have chosen, a lot of them that come to mind are Protosses, and everybody, especially in Korea. I mean, we always give you guys the Korean perspective because most of you already know how the foreign fans think about the matches, because you're foreign fans while you're watching the foreign broadcast. But a lot of people are saying that you know, this match is basically about like the Zergs of Samsung versus the Protosses of SKT. And if you think about it, do you really want to send another Protoss out against Stork, who already prepared for Protoss versus Protoss specifically? And it's a volatile matchup. It's a mirror matchup. Probably better off sending out a Zerg player here. And I like the choice of SoulKey. It's flashy, but it does make sense. I didn't expect it, but the more I think about it, the more I like it. Yeah. This is really annoying.
He actually, Stork actually sent this probe out a little bit earlier because he saw the drone, and he was like, okay, I'm going to have to deal with this blocking. So he sent it out when he had about, 70 minerals. So even though it did delay a slight bit, he was able to get it not so late there.
Yeah.
So that's a good little tactic he was able to do.
Double gas is being taken right now in the main base. Of course, the drone sees everything, knows he's up against gateway-oriented expansion. Going to keep this Overlord in here to scout the tech once this core goes down. And fast third hatchery as a response here for SoulKey. I like that choice.
Yep, Stork, again, just on top of everything so far today. He had that probe right when it started, actually. So he's going to see the timing of that third. Not too fast, but it is going to be pretty fast. The thing we've talked about so much about PvP or PvZ on this map, though, is that how it's so easy to take that third as Protoss on this map, especially Bel'Shir-Vestige. So I would like to see Stork also go for a somewhat faster third and try to take it longer against SoulKey. I mean, he looked pretty decent against Parting, so I want to see that kind of game out of him.
Yeah, and here's what's risky about SoulKey's third base. He's taken it very early, and when you're up against a gateway expansion, you always have to consider that the Warpgate research is going to be out very quickly. The tech is going to be out very quickly. The Stargate, for example, now that's being added. So if you take it this fast, you do get that extra larva production, but it hurts your tech if you don't get gas. So for example, the Zergling speed is very much delayed. He still hasn't mined any gas. And this is something that Stork can try to take advantage of, especially since he's already seen the third base. What? You cannot lose these probes.
Oh, wow. He gets one probe. These
Zealot,
probes
man.
are now fighting. The Zealot is off duty.
Zealot needs to get with.
Oh.
What is... He's like, oh, it's fine, right? I'm going to go back and play Flappy Birds. No, Zealot.
Get off your phone, Zealot. It's not time for Flappy Birds.
Zealot, you're never going to actually break 60. You're not going to get over 60 points of Flappy Bird.
No.
If you do, you need to find a new hobby. You need to actually do something else.
Hey, we're going to get over 60 soon.
I will,
It's not going to
but-
be too far. I'm at 42, man. I'm not too far behind.
I'm at 50 right now.
Don't be too happy with your high score over me.
I just hope that I don't accidentally delete the app for any reason because the developer's quiet and peaceful life was ruined because of the game, so he deleted it off of the store. So if you guys don't know what Flappy Bird is and you want to download it, sorry, it's too late.
Yeah, the developer made a bunch of tweets about how he just wanted to lead a peaceful and happy life, even though he was making so much money.
He's like,
off of this game.
My life became crazy once I made $50,000
I was just making
a
way
day
too
off
much money.
ad revenue.
I couldn't deal with it. I just had to stop this madness. And by the way, Flappy Birds 2 comes out next week.
I'm still gonna make games, but I can't deal with this anymore. But you know what? His life. So many sad could have beens for Flappy Birders out there. So many more players could have been out there.
Yep.
I guess you can probably find a version of the game to download, like if you have your phone jailbroken or if you use an Android phone. But yeah, Flappy Bird. I found out about it yesterday. It changed my life.
You told me about this. I think it was yesterday, actually. You're like, it's going to be deleted soon. You should get it. I'm like, what is this game? I heard about it, but what is it? And then I played it, and my life changed for at least the past 24 hours.
Well, let's see how much damage these Phoenixes do. Of course, he's already adding Spore Crawlers as soon as he realizes this is what's happening. He's got the extra queens here. They're going to ward this off quite easily. The Phoenixes, of course, are always going to do some amount of damage. It's just about the Zerg player minimizing how much. And, you know, you don't want to pull a Terror Prime and lose all of your Overlords or something like that. You got to be on point. The Phoenixes, of course, do give you a certain amount of map control. These probes are so vulnerable to the SoulKey Zerglings this game.
These little non-speed Zerglings of the SoulKey so far has just been so devious, like catching whatever they can. Now they want to get this little sentry. Are they going to get it? No, they're not. Are they going to get the probe, though? No, the probe's at least going to get the Nexus down. Oh, and he survives.
Nicely done.
And SoulKey going for a decently faster third here. And these Phoenixes, again, are going to just be annoying. He goes for that magic number 5. Just continuing to go around here. Loses one.
Yeah, he's got to be careful about that.
Doesn't want to keep him around too long.
Yeah. Not sure what that lapse of time was. Maybe he just went to start his robotics. Looks like that's on the production tab, so he probably went back to make that and then lost control of his Phoenixes for a second.
It's like so funny, both of us as StarCraft 2 players, we can be like, oh, that's what he was doing exactly at that moment.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I look at the
we
production tab and I'm
both
like,
have that moment, like when we're playing, we're just like, oh, I got to make my robotics. We go back and like we go back to our Phoenixes. We're like, oh no, I lost one.
Yeah. Oops, you know.
Yeah.
So, gotta be careful about that. He still has enough Phoenixes to where he can do little things like this, pick off the drones. Gotta cancel on that one, though. That's another sloppy control mistake here that actually takes away the utility of his Phoenixes.
Yeah, when he first went in with the first 3 Phoenixes, he did a good job microing the one that was taking a lot of damage back. But after that, he kind of slacked a little bit.
When you do Phoenix Micro, the most important thing to do, if you can, is to make sure that the lifting Phoenix is not in Spore range, because the other ones can always move around a little bit. If you are in Spore range when you lift, it's always worth it to just cancel, fly away, and then relift, because it's not worth losing a Phoenix just to make sure you can get that one drone and then fly away. It's not worth the risk there.
Yep.
So
definitely not worth the risk. At the same time, our observer did point out that he is at 100 Chrono Boost energy on his main Nexus at least. So, and just another micro thing he could be doing better.
yeah, you know, Stork in StarCraft 2 so far has really been more well known for his tactical choices than his mechanics, I would say. What's still a pretty good mechanical player. Unfortunately for him, this pressure's going to get shut down. He's going to kill a Roach here, but he's taking a lot of damage on those Phoenixes.
Yeah, Phoenix is almost going down here. He's going to back off. It looked like he did recall there against that army of Zerglings and Roaches.
Yeah, it's just way too much. If you get surrounded by those Speedlings, either you lose all your, you know, you use all your force fields and maybe survive, or you lose all your force fields and all your sentries die and use all your force fields anyway. It's better to recall there, for sure, if you have the energy. So Blink +2, Void Rays on the way, and this is the kind of thing that, of course, you want to start adding into your army when you have that third base, because you can eventually afford to make Colossi and Void Rays at the same time, and the Void Rays will be great against the Corruptors, contrary to what you might think about the Corruptors being anti-air units.
It's great as Protoss when you get that third base out, like you said, to just continue making the Void Rays early, because the more Void Rays you have, the stronger they are, the better they, exponentially increase in strength. So you want as many of them as possible, and as long as you can start them early, you definitely want to start them. So getting that production going right now is pretty good. On the other hand, SoulKey did pump out 8 of those Corruptors, and he's going to catch these Phoenixes out. Maybe he can get one. He does grab one. Seems like he wants to be a bit aggressive. He is out on the map. Could maybe snipe a couple Colossi, but 2 of them are hallucinated.
Yep. And it looks like he knows exactly which one is the right one, picks it off right away. And this was, the thing about that engagement was it was just enough Corruptors to make it work. He's switching into Mutas, of course, behind this. He's getting the Carapace upgrade for them to actually make them a little bit more tough. And I like that choice a lot in this matchup. So, he's not going to be able to do damage as quickly with the Mutalisk, had he gone for continued attack upgrades. But they will last longer against attacks. So, that Colossus pickup wasn't really necessarily a mistake of Stork. I would say it was more just a good little pick off there by SoulKey, just being very aware. He's also going over here to use harassment, will kind of mess with that wall. And he's basically just protecting these Mutalisks against any Phoenixes he encounters, any Colossi that come out are going to die. And these Roaches doing damage over here meanwhile, so Stork is just falling apart, to be honest.
Yeah, Stork is just not holding up to the micro right now of SoulKey. SoulKey in 2 places at once. Stork being forced back to barely having 3 bases mining, while SoulKey is taking his 5th base now, and he has a huge air army, adding a bunch more Mutalisks. These Blink Stalkers are even having trouble fighting against his Mutalisks right now.
He doesn't have enough.
He's going to actually focus down that Cybernetics core right now so that he's not able to produce any more of those Stalkers.
Exactly.
And it's going to be so hard to fight off even more of these Mutas that are coming across the map.
Great micro there by SoulKey. Looked like some StarCraft 1 Muta micro there for a second. Cybernetics core. Another lapse in judgment here by Stork is not starting the Cybernetics core first before it died, because of course he was going to lose it. I suppose he thought he was going to fix it, or save it, rather, not fix it. You can't fix the Cybernetics core. But we'll see how this push goes out. I mean, he has a lot of units. He still has those warriors to help protect his Colossi. And he does have a lot of Stalkers with this army. Spine Crawlers are being made right now for SoulKey as he wants to prepare for this attack. 6 of them, 7 of them, 8 of them now going up. He's just going to try to force Stork to turn around, and if he doesn't, he's going to have the Spine Crawlers to back this up. This may very quickly become an elimination race.
This is something you can do on Bel'Shir-Vestige, actually. You have your 4th and 5th bases just across the map from each other. It's so hard to do that, but you have the fast units of Zerg attacking all 3 bases of Stork right now, and Stork is just going for a lackluster attack at the 4th of SoulKey that he's not even mining at, but he doesn't care.
Yeah, he does split his units up, which I really do like. You always have to decide with yourself, or am I going to split up my army or not when you're trying to base trade against a Zerg player, because if you are trying to eliminate his buildings, you want to do it the most efficient way possible. But if you split up your army, if the Mutalisks come, for example, like this, you can kill small groups of Stalkers when he doesn't have them all together. And this is looking, worse and worse for Stork all the time, but he still has a really strong army. He's trying to trap and kill all these drones. If he can do that, he might have a better chance. Does he have any probes across the map? That's another question. I wish, I knew. He has some in his 3rd base here, but he hasn't actually run them away, so if he loses all those, he won't be able to make any structures to save himself.
Yeah, it's hard to say right now if he has the probes. It seems like there are not many Protoss buildings remaining on the other hand, and we have a huge grouped-up army right now of SoulKey coming across to this 3rd base, which has nothing at it right now.
Yeah, his wall actually hurts him a little bit here, sending the probes the wrong direction towards the Zerg army. He has no probes left, and that's going to be game. There's nothing he can do. He can't eliminate SoulKey's buildings fast enough, and he's down to these are his last buildings, and he knows it. You can see it on his face. Good game 1 here by Stork, but SoulKey's just way too much for him. Game 2. GG. And SoulKey getting fangirl screams, ties up the series 1-1. And wow, I just feel like Stork got. I think these little mistakes that you can make, like losing a few probes in the early game to just a few Zerglings, can kind of get into your head a little bit. And I think he just got frustrated. Yeah. We've seen Stork play much better games than that one.
Yeah, even the game before against Party. He seemed a lot more together with that game, maybe just a lot more focused. And maybe coming into the second match against the Zerg this time a little bit different, maybe not the matchup he prepared for. He, like you said, maybe got a little frustrated with some of the stuff he was losing, loses the Phoenix here, loses some probes there. makes a couple mistakes here and there, and maybe he just got frustrated. And SoulKey, he just pounced like a tiger. SoulKey is a guy that if you give him any room to breathe, he's just going to pounce on you, and that's exactly what he did